Hey everyone, Gavin Gallagher, PropTechTV. Hope you're all doing well during this COVID-19 chaos. The lockdown continues. The Irish government just announced a 3-week extension to May the 5th, so I guess I won't be making this video in the office anytime soon. Thought I'd step out of the house just to give you a quick introduction to a video that I'm going to show you now. It's an extract from a longer keynote I gave at a talk in London. The extract is on the history and evolution of EastPoint Business Park. Now, EastPoint is an office campus that my family and I have been involved in since the early 90s when we developed the property, and now we continue to maintain it, and we own a number of the buildings in the park. And it's just a little bit of history, the background to the park, and it's a little bit of an intro to me and my background and a few things, the things that I've done in the past and that I'm doing today. If you'd like to look at the longer keynote, it's 30 minutes long, and it's actually called Driving Trends in Office Space. And there's a link below to that video. There's also a link below to the slide deck, which I shared over on SlideShare. If you like the video, please drop us a like, and it'd be great if you'd hit subscribe and the notification bell, because I'm just trying to grow the channel now and get a little bit more of an audience for your comments and for any kind of feedback that you'd like to give me. Happy to engage. So guys, without any further ado, my talk about the history and evolution of EastPoint Business Park.
Thanks everyone. This thing is on. Okay, great. I just want to see if I got this working. Yeah. As Brendan he's spoken a lot about EastPoint. So this here is an image of EastPoint just taken recently. It's quite a big business park. It's about 40 acres in total, 37 buildings, about 50 occupiers, and about 8,000 or 9,000 people turning up every single day for work. We have we don't know exactly, because the likes of Oracle and Google, those guys keep their numbers very much to themselves. They don't like to blab about how much they've got or how many employees. My involvement in EastPoint has been right from the very, very beginning. My family, it's actually a family business that I come from. My father and his cousins were involved in buying the site. I'm going to show you what the site looked like back in 1989. This here is the site, and it's actually a reclamation project. And this entire area that we've built, EastPoint, was once the estuary. What you see here, actually, this whole area here, everything in green basically used to be the sea, the tidal estuary of the Talca River. So over years, this was filled in using landfill, and just through the growth of Dublin Port, they kept on adding acres and acres and acres. And in the end, we got an opportunity back in 1989 to buy this plot of land. It was ex-landfill and therefore extremely cheap. I think we might have paid £4 million Irish pounds for it, so about 100,000 per acre. But then again, it was landfill, so it wasn't clear what we were going to be able to do on it. The master plan took about 3 years. We had a lot of negotiation with the local authority. The local authority were very nervous about the fact that this was landfill. You guys will be aware that landfill generates a lot of noxious gases like methane and hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide, and those things meant that this was never going to be a residential site. We were looking at it initially as a light industrial site to kind of blend in with the port usage that was going on. So you see here, there's a big kind of warehouse shed here, and that is a part of the site that we'd like to acquire today. Getting into as we were going through the discussions with the local authority, our architects were scouring the kind of the different plans going on around the world and the different projects, and they came across Stockley Park here in London, in Uxbridge. And when they saw that, they brought it to us and they showed us, and they suggested a low-density campus-type environment, and that made a lot more sense, a lot more profitability potentially than light industrial, because there wasn't very much likelihood that there would be a huge amount of employment created by light industrial. Whereas an office park, you could look, nowadays we have obviously 8,000 or 9,000 people. If it was light industrial, it'd be, you know, a fraction of that. Getting into the construction, the development started in 1991. There was a lot of work to be done on the site. The fact that it is a landfill, you've got to go and prepare the ground for the gases. The gases that are going to be escaping from the ground have to be mitigated. So we had to build a whole network of pipes that take the gas out of the ground. There's trenches, there's all sorts of stuff. Still today, about 20, we're looking at nearly 30 years on now, we are still actually monitoring the gas in the park. There's a whole system there that's monitoring constantly, because this gas is it's odorless, so no one's going to smell the gas, and we have automatic systems that start to vent the buildings if there's any kind of an issue. Here it is closer to completion, and this actually is quite a few years ago. Since we opened this whole area here, this turned into the Dublin Port Tunnel, and so we now are only 12 minutes from the airport, which makes it quite an attractive, site for some of the international companies. So we managed to attract Google and Oracle and a lot of the big occupiers because of our proximity to the airport. And in terms of getting investors to invest, one of the negotiations we had was with the Department of Finance in Ireland, because it was a regeneration project, former landfill. We were able to get tax breaks, so we turned the project into a capital allowance project, and every penny that the investors spent was actually able to be taken back over a period of 10 years against your tax. When the project was finished, it moved into, I'll just go back a second, it went into more of an estate management role. What we had done is we had sold off a lot of the buildings to investors, and the investment partnerships were able to take advantage of the tax breaks that were there, and so it became more of an estate management role rather than development. This is around about 2014, 2015. The recession in Dublin was absolutely brutal. Land prices in EastPoint dropped by 80%. And we had some struggles with our banks. Obviously, once you go below 40%, 50%, you're already in a bit of difficulty. You go to 80%, and it takes a real struggle to kind of keep the business afloat. But we managed to do that, and in fact, by bringing in partners that were larger than us and stuff, we were actually able to buy back some of the buildings from the original partnerships we sold to, and we ended up buying buildings at less than the cost that we had constructed them 10 years before that. So it was during that period that we actually managed to buy back 16 of our own buildings that we had sold off, and it's been a good experience. Today, EastPoint is there's about 50 occupiers, as I mentioned. Most of them are multinationals, and we have Deutsche Bank there, Oracle, Google. Oracle are in 7 of our buildings, Google are in 6, and so they're a very large presence, and we put a lot of attention into looking after them, making sure that they're very happy with the way we're running the park. We have a bus service that brings people to the local train station. We do about 3,500 people a day on that service. We have about 2,500 people driving in every day, another 1,000 people cycling in, and then the balance walk or take public transport. That's it. Great, 0. Thank you, guys.
We'll do a quick Q&A.
All right, I hope you found that video useful. If you did, drop us a like, and again, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm always love to hear from guys with any questions or comments you have, so just leave a comment below and I'll happily drop back a reply. Before you go, quick reminder, I'm in the process of launching a podcast. It's called Behind the Facade. It's all about the mental game behind the real estate business and the kind of habits and tips and strategies that you need to have in order to have a successful career, and a lot of tips and lessons from myself after 25 years in the game. If you'd like to connect with me directly, probably the best way to find me is Gavin J. Gallagher over in LinkedIn, or you can follow me on my blog, gavinjgallagher.com. Hope to see you in the next video.